Notable for the council is we are planning to pursue another season this year, as we have communicated to the council before, of tick and deer management work. Specifically, we will continue to use the deer removal method with firearms consistent with New York State DEC requirements. In the packet that I left with each of you, and if anyone in the room wants a copy, I can provide it to you. Just see me. It does provide a recap of the results of last season's work to remove or cull deer in the city. It was a total last year of 79 deer, which is down from about 90 the previous year. The breakdown shows you that in the northwestern part of the city, 16 deer, southwestern part of the city, 34, and in the southeast, which is the area that comprises what we believe is the largest population of deer in the city, it was about 29. What's important to note is that the reductions in removal does not necessarily mean citywide that there is a reduction in deer population. In fact, what we hear through our tracking methods and what we see is continued significant overpopulation, particularly in that southeast quadrant, particularly in the eastern suburbs. So, Councilor Caldwell, it doesn't surprise me that you have some additional residents in your neighborhood, and particularly where you are. So important, here's what I think you really want to know about going forward. It is anticipated that Governor Hochul will sign, and I say let me rephrase that. We are awaiting the governor's signature on legislation approved by the Senate and Assembly, sponsored by Assembly Member Hunter and Senator May, that will allow us to conduct deer removal activities in more areas in the city, specifically in areas of the east side where we have a continuing problem with overpopulation. That legislation, you remember, we've talked before at the council. You actually, as a council, passed a resolution in support of action on this matter, will allow the city to conduct deer removal within 250 feet of an occupied dwelling using a certified wildlife manager. That's different. The current requirement says to get inside 500 feet, we need permission from every property owner within that 500-foot area. That has proved to be something that is not possible to gain 100% participation from all property owners. At 250 feet, we have already, anticipating the governor's signature, done significant planning to identify additional sites with a primary focus in this first year, if the legislation is signed, of east side neighborhoods where the population we know is highest. So, assuming the legislation is approved or signed, we expect to be able to add those sites in January, February, and March, which is still a significant part of the upcoming season. It's the last 3 months of the upcoming season. And we have recommended to the council a budget that will anticipate an increase in removals, so we have that funding available assuming the legislation is signed. Hope that was clear.
No, it was good.
Yeah.
And if it's not signed, what happens?
Well, we'll have another season where we will not be as successful at reducing the population in overpopulated areas, and we will then need to do two things. We would go back to the drawing board on another legislative solution, or come back to the council next summer with a proposal for introducing other methods that are allowed. The other method is a trapping method that we have not considered implemented to date. Our Tick and Deer Management Advisory Group has not believed that trapping is the right next step. But I think that group would say to us that they think it is if we're unable to achieve a reduction in the setback.